Hello everyone, in this video I would like to explain about Pandas Transform function. This video explanation will be divided into four subtopics. The first is what is transform function, and then the second, why transform function is important, and then the third is what is the difference between apply and transform function, and the last is when to use Pandas transform function. In this section, I will only focus on two topics. The first is what is transform function, and the second is why transform function is important. So let's jump into the first topic. What is transform function? Transform function is pandas function that can produce a data frame with some function, and the result of those transformation have the same axis as the past data frame. And then going further to how we perform a code of pandas transform function. To perform a pandas transform function, we need four parameters. The first is function, the second is axis, the third is arc, and the fourth is chord. To make it simple, we will only focus on function and axis. For the first parameter, function, the form of function that we can use in transform function, the first is in the form of function itself, and then the second is a function name, and then the third is list-like function, and the last is dictionary-like function. So based on this explanation, we can get a conclusion that we can use several functions for a transform function. And then the second parameter is axis. If we use axis equal to 0, then the transform function will apply to each column. And then if we use axis equal to 1, then the transform function will apply to each row. And then for the next explanation regarding the transform function, I will give an example of how we perform a pandas transform function. Let's say we have a data frame like this one called df that consists of two columns A and B, and then from this data frame we would like to add +1 for each element of the data frame. So the code to perform those calculation is df.transform. We use lambda function in here, and the lambda function says that x is equal to x plus 1, which is x is showing each element of the data frame. By using this code, we can get the result of a new data frame, and then the result of this data frame is the +1 of each element of the previous data frame, this one. So we can see that 0 plus 1 is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. And then the next example, I will show you that pandas transform function could be used for several functions. For example, we have this data as data like this one, and then we would like to calculate some calculation like this one using two functions. So we could perform this calculation by adding a list of functions to this transform function like this one. So using this code, we can get the result as shown in this table. And then the last example of a pandas transform function It shows that we can also apply transform function on a group by object. Let's say we have a data frame that consists of two columns. The first column called date and then the second column called data. Let's say we want to have a value of sum of data grouped by the date. So the code to perform this calculation is df.group by date, and then because we want a value of the sum of data, so we choose data in here, dot transform an aggregate function called sum. This value of sum will appear on each row, or we can say that the result of uh, applying transform function on group by method will resulting the same length of data frame. We can see that on previous explanation we will have a different data length if we use an aggregate function like this one. We can see that we will have four group of date if we use group by combined by aggregate function. This is the difference between group by combined by transform and group by combined by aggregate function. In practical, Pandas transform function can be used separately to other function to manipulate a data frame, or combine with group by to perform some data processing like finding percentage, filtering data, or handling missing values on a group level. The explanation of how we use transform function on advanced level will be explained on the next topic of this video series. That's all my explanation about the first topic of what is a Python transform function. And then we're going to the second topic, why is Python transform function important? The result of transfer function could be similarly performed by group by and merge function, but the time taken by the transform function to perform the same operation is comparatively less over a large data frame. To perform this claim, I will took an example. So I've already generated a data frame from a random function with around 1 billion data points, so it's quite big. And then we can have two same operation but with different approach. In this two method, we will have a value of mean grouped by C. The mean value is generated from a column. Using the first approach, this approach is using group by combined by merge. It result uh, 600 around 600 millisecond. But using the second approach of group by combined by transform function result about 100 milliseconds. So we can see that the time taken use the first approach is different with the second approach. So it will be beneficial if we have a big data, a big size data. The time taken to perform the same operation will take the less time. That's all my explanation about the second topic. The next two topic will be the difference between transform and apply, and also when we use the transform function. So let's continue to the next video. If you still wanted to get the next explanation. Thank you for watching.